They looked at you a second too long, and suddenly the room felt different. Not dangerous exactly, just wrong, in a quiet way your body noticed first. You have probably felt that small freeze before your mind finds a reason. Someone's eyes stay on you, then leave too fast, and something unsettles you. It lingers longer than the moment should, like a conversation you never actually had. Most people call it awkwardness, but awkwardness alone does not press that deeply. You sense something shift, and the strange part usually happens before anyone speaks. That is why these moments feel hard to shake even hours later. Your mind is not reacting to eye contact alone, but to mismatch. A face says normal, a pause says caution, and your nervous system believes the pause. You can feel it before words appear because your body tracks patterns faster. The stare only becomes memorable when something underneath it does not line up. Maybe interest was there, but so was hesitation, shame, resentment, fear, or curiosity. And when mixed feelings leak through the eyes, you feel tension without translation. That early discomfort matters because hidden conflict is easier to sense than explain. Human attention is built to notice moments when signals stop agreeing with each other. A steady voice with guarded eyes can feel heavier than open anger. Clear emotions are easier to place, but mixed emotions keep your mind searching. Searching creates tension because uncertainty keeps the moment psychologically unfinished inside you. That unfinished feeling is why one look can replay in your head all night. You are not obsessed with the person, only the unresolved signal they gave. And unresolved signals pull attention because the brain hates social uncertainty more than silence. Silence becomes loud when it arrives beside a face that seems almost normal. Almost normal is often what unsettles you most because almost hides the fracture. If someone looked openly hostile, your body could categorize it and move on. But the harder moments are quiet ones, where the emotion is partly concealed. That concealment is what makes the stare feel longer than it truly was. You are not just seeing them, you were sensing them manage themselves. And people managing themselves always create tiny delays, tension, and emotional residue. The deepest signal is often not the look itself, but the correction after. They stare, realize they revealed something, then repair their face a second late. That delay is powerful, because truth often appears briefly before control returns. You have probably noticed this with people who seem composed but feel unreadable. They are not unreadable because nothing is there, but because too much is. The face is organized, yet the timing around it quietly breaks the pattern. And your body notices broken patterns long before your thoughts build a sentence. That is why discomfort can feel irrational even when it is deeply informed. It is not proof, but it is information, and that difference matters. You are sensing emotional friction, not solving a crime, and that keeps you grounded. The goal is not paranoia. The goal is recognizing when someone's surface and core separate. Think about the moment someone keeps looking at you, then suddenly looks away. Not casually, not naturally, but like they were caught having a private reaction. You may have felt a jolt there, even if nothing else happened. That jolt often comes from witnessing interest collide with self-protection before the person regains control. Maybe they were drawn in, maybe threatened, maybe embarrassed by what they noticed. The fast withdrawal matters because it tells you the look was not neutral. Neutral attention does not usually need a quick correction, unless something personal slipped through. What unsettles you is not being seen, but sensing they regretted being seen seeing. That creates a strange tension between exposure, denial, and whatever emotion came first. So later, you do not remember just the stare, you remember the emotional recoil. And that recoil is often the clearest clue the moment meant more. Something in them moved before they could package it politely for the moment. Now think about a compliment that lands, followed by a silence that feels heavy. You say something kind, and the other person freezes for half a beat. Then they answer normally, but the normal answer arrives slightly too late. That tiny delay can feel bigger than the compliment itself, because something private surfaced first. Maybe they wanted the approval too much, or distrusted it, or felt suddenly exposed. Maybe they liked hearing it, but hated needing it, and that conflict showed briefly. You sense something shift because gratitude and discomfort are fighting for the same expression. The silence is not empty, it is crowded with unspoken processing, your body catches instantly. That is why these moments can stay with you after very ordinary conversations. On the surface, nothing happened, but underneath, emotional timing broke the scene. And once timing breaks, your mind keeps circling the interaction for meaning. What you felt was not drama, it was hidden effort trying to stay socially invisible. Another common moment is when someone sounds calm, but their face misses the words. They smile, yet the eyes stay distant, guarded, tired, or quietly resentful. Nothing is openly wrong, and that is exactly why the moment feels strange. A full smile resolves tension, but a partial smile quietly suspends it in place. You can feel the gap between their words and their visible state. Maybe they are trying to be warm while holding back, hurt, jealousy, fear, or doubt. Maybe they want connection, but do not feel safe enough to relax into it. That mismatch reaches you faster than the actual content of their sentence. So even after they say something pleasant, you still walk away uneasy. You were responding to emotional leakage, not just language, because the body rarely speaks cleanly. And emotional leakage is often strongest in the moments people think are controlled. That is why normal-looking interactions can feel unusually heavy long after they end. Most people make the mistake of dismissing these moments because nothing dramatic occurred. They say you're overthinking, but overthinking starts later than the first reaction. The first reaction is usually pattern detection, not imagination, especially when signals stop matching. Of course, not every long stare means danger, desire, or hidden hostility. People get distracted, tired, anxious, shy, or lost in thought for ordinary reasons. But that does not mean your discomfort was invented out of nowhere. Discomfort often comes from sensing inconsistency, not from creating stories, and that distinction protects you. What most people call nothing is often a small emotional contradiction hiding in plain sight. And contradictions feel strong because the mind keeps trying to resolve them. So no, it is not always serious, and no, it is not always random. The healthiest response is neither blind trust nor blind suspicion when something feels off. It is calm attention to patterns that repeat, intensify, or leave emotional residue. That way you become more perceptive without turning every silence into a threat. Because the point is not to panic over signals, but to respect them. The first thing to notice next time is timing, especially the moment before words. Did the expression arrive first, then get corrected when they realized you saw it? That brief correction often tells you more than the polished response afterward. Truth leaks early, and management usually arrives just after, which is why the first beat matters. The second thing to notice is where the eyes go once tension appears. Do they hold contact too long, drop it suddenly, or keep returning to it? Eye direction matters because attention reveals conflict even when language tries to stay smooth. A person avoiding your eyes may be overwhelmed, but a person snapping away may be exposed. The third thing to notice is mismatch between tone, face, and delay. When the words sound easy but the body hesitates, that hesitation deserves attention. When the smile arrives without warmth, or the answer arrives without ease, pause internally. You do not need to react outwardly, you only need to register the pattern. Notice what repeats across different moments, because repetition turns discomfort into reliable information. One awkward pause can mean anything, but 3 similar pauses tell a story. And stories built from patterns are steadier than stories built from fear. This is how you stay aware without becoming suspicious of everyone around you. Because what you were sensing in those moments was not weakness or oversensitivity. You were feeling the friction between what was shown and what was actually present. That friction can come from attraction, shame, resentment, fear, envy, caution, or inner conflict. Different emotions create different textures, but they all disturb the same surface. And your body often catches the disturbance before your mind names the emotion. That is why some interactions feel heavy even when the words seem harmless. What unsettles you is rarely the sentence itself. It is the emotional undercurrent. You can feel it before words appear, because bodies reveal unfinished truths. That is also why a short silence can feel heavier than a sharp sentence. Sharp words end themselves, but uneasy pauses leave the ending inside you. Your system keeps waiting for the missing piece that would make the moment settle. But some people never give that peace because they barely understand their own reaction. They only know something rose inside them and they tried to push it down. You happened to witness the push, not just the feeling beneath it. That is why the memory feels intimate, even when the interaction was brief. You saw a private adjustment happen in public and your mind kept it. People reveal themselves most in transitions, not in the polished middle of behavior. The move into a smile, the break before an answer, the sudden glance away. Those are the places where control slips and real feeling touches the surface. You know that strange moment when someone seems present but not fully with you? Part of them is still occupied by the emotion they are hiding. And that partial absence is often what feels so cold or confusing. You are not imagining distance. You are noticing someone split between roles and feelings. Sometimes that truth is simple nervousness, and sometimes it is something deeper. The point is not to label it too quickly, but not to erase it. When you keep erasing what you sensed, you slowly stop trusting your own perception. And when you stop trusting that perception, confusing people gain more control. Not because they are powerful, but because you keep arguing with your first signal. Your first signal is not always final, but it is often valuable. It tells you where the mismatch lives even before the explanation arrives. That alone can change how you move through difficult conversations and uncertain people. You become less likely to ignore tension just because someone sounds polite. You become less likely to chase approval from someone whose signals feel split. And you become more able to leave space around moments that feel emotionally bent. That space is where clarity grows, because pressure usually distorts what you notice. When you stop forcing quick explanations, the pattern often becomes clearer on its own. Maybe that person was hiding attraction, maybe anger, maybe insecurity, maybe unresolved shame. What matters first is that you sense the hidden tension honestly and without apology. And honest perception is not something you should keep apologizing for anymore. If this helped you name a feeling you have carried for years, stay here. Novi mind is for the moments people dismiss, but your body never forgets. Share one strange reaction you have noticed in real life that stayed with you. And if you want more of what most people miss, subscribe and keep listening. Because the next video gets even quieter, and that is exactly why it matters.